What is going on, people? Your boy Versatile is back with another video. Back here to talk about 2K games and they crazy behind mine trying to charge $70 for NBA 2K21. But before we get into the video, make sure you guys ignite that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you guys hit that notification bell so that you stay informed when I drop videos. Now let's get into the video. Now I pulled up the article to confirm some of this because I was dumbfounded when I woke up to this news, because 2K and really a sports game period is the last genre of games that should be thinking about charging $70 for a game. But I basically have about three things that I want to come that I hope that I can verbalize in a good way here. So let's go to this article. It was by IGN. NBA 2K21 current gen release date revealed. Next gen version $10 more expensive. So 2K21 on PS5 and Xbox Series X will cost $10 more than current gen platforms. So it will be released on current gen as September 4th, 2020, and it will not arrive on PS5 and Series X until holiday 2020. It's being built up from the ground up. So that's what they're basically trying to use as their excuse to try to charge $70. Now here's the funny thing. They got all these crazy special editions, Mamba Forever. We got the Zion Williamson on the cover. They're not doing smart delivery or PS5 smart delivery equivalent service, which means no free upgrade. So not only do you have to pay it for it once if you decide to buy it September on current gen, but if you're planning on buying a PS5 and playing it on a PS5, you got to turn around and spend another $70, or in the words of my good man Jeremy, 70 bones for 2K21. That makes entirely no sense. You hear every other games that like just games that you hear. I wouldn't say a surprise. I wouldn't say a surprise per se. Games that wouldn't be a surprise to hear that is going to be a free upgrade, but you do expect that from current gen games going over to the next gen. Most of those games that are going to get upgraded, going to get patches and whatnot to run on the PS5. And we're like, hurrah, yay. But for some reason, 2K says, nah, fam, y'all paying for us twice. They have lost their minds. Now, here's the one justification I can see to see why they might charge $70. It's really just one justification. I would say two, but I'll get into that in a second. The one justification I can see is if it's the last like hardware based game. So no more discs after this. After this going forward, they will be dropping like $35 or $25 updates that revitalizes the roster and gameplay mechanics, because that's really all sports games are, is just better graphics and roster updates and some tweaks here and there, or like, certain game modes might get, changed or altered or adjusted. That's really all sport games are. There's nothing crazy about a sports game outside of that. So, and I'm not, again, taking away from the massive work that goes into making these sport games, exist and look great and play great and all that type of stuff. But I'm just saying, as a sports game that comes out every single year, there's really only every 2 to 3, I would even almost say every 3 to 4 years, where you see a massive leap in technology for sports games. So it doesn't even make sense for them to come out and charge $70 right now. Granted, it's going to be, what hopes to be a very massive upgrade, since they're building it from the ground up for next gen. But for $70, and one justification I can see that being the case is if from after this game, then we're just going to get like software updates and we don't have to buy another game. We can just download the software updates, because that makes way more sense. And a lot of people have actually kind of been pushing for sport games to go in that direction, because it makes no sense to, one, buy the game one year and then get no money on return the next year to buy the next year's game. It makes no sense. So hopefully that's the reason, but most likely 2K is feeling themselves because they've basically monopolized basketball games, and they feeling themselves. So the other reason I said that is kind of a justification is if all PS5 or next gen games going forward take that leap to $70, but that's not happening right now. And as far as we've heard, we haven't heard that be the case for any games. So for 2K, again, a sports game, to jump out the gate, just jump off the boat and say $70 is crazy. It is insane. That makes no sense. So I don't see games, if they increase, which I don't think they ultimately will, because $60 seems like it's been pretty well sustainable for developers, for studios, for PlayStation or Sony, and for us as consumers. Like, of course, we hate that the games kept going up, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And this is the one time I could almost see like a $5 increase, even though I still don't want that, of course, but I can almost see a $5 increase, but not a whole $10 right out the gate. That makes no sense. Now, if Spider-Man Miles Morales and a couple other of the holiday 2020 games, I think Ratchet and Clank, if those come out at $70, then I'll eat some of my words in regards to next gen increasing the price, because they're jumping out the gate doing it, even though I still don't think that's a great idea, at least for 2020 and maybe even 2021, given our current financial, social climate, you know what I'm saying? But I definitely don't see an increase for a couple of years at best. So it's a bad move on 2K. And this is why EA needed to get themselves together and produce a decent NBA Live game. Because now that 2K feels like they have no competition, they feel like they can jump them prices on us. Now, if EA came out the gate with a decent game every year to at least try to compete with 2K, and they're like, we're still $60, 2K is going to be struggling a little bit, because people don't want to spend $70. You already got people spending bukus of money just for some fake money in the game. Now you're looking at spending a whole extra $10 on a sports game that I'm going to get $3 back for next year. Nah, not happening. And that's why, like, yeah, I played the life out of NBA 2K20. But again, let's also look at it from that perspective. NBA hasn't been going on right now like that. Teams haven't been practicing like that. Some players may have been, but for the most part, it's been very stalemate-ish out here for games. So how much of an adjustment or accurate representation will we see in the roster upgrades or player upgrades? Like, we really won't see that until like next year, and that's if things get better in terms of like COVID and stuff like that. So even from that standpoint, you're almost just buying NBA 2020 on a small dose of steroids, because graphics is the only thing that I can see really improving between now and the end of 2020 for NBA 2K 2021. That's all I'm saying. That $70, ridiculous. Like, please rescind that and change that to 60, because as a sports game especially, you can't be charging that much. Like, there's not that much that changes between you guys year over year. And although this year is an exception because you're crossing over to next gen, that's still not enough of justification for $70. Let me down in the comments what you guys think. Is that good pricing? Will you pay $70? Will you hold out and wait for the game to drop in price to then buy it and hit them in their pockets, so that way they know $70 makes no sense right now? We gotta do something, because $70 makes no sense for 2K21. I'm sorry, that just, especially with other games that's coming out, it makes no sense for 2K21 to basically lower themselves on the totem pole, because best believe a lot of these other games are getting bought first before 2K21, at least for me. I know there's a hardcore gamers out there, or 2K gamers, that might just foot the bill, but for the sake of showing 2K that do not be the first ones to come out the gate trying to charge, because you've already had controversies with your VC charging and stuff like that. Now you want to come out the gate with $70? Like, nah. In the words of MKBHD, that ain't it, chief. I'm sorry. That is not it. But again, comment section is open. Let me know what you guys think down below. But if you haven't already, make sure you guys ignite that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you guys hit that notification bell so that way you stay informed when I drop videos. Which boy Versatile signing out, and until the next video, wait for it.